Welcome to Life Success. Today I'm talking about actually how it is important to connect with other people, especially when it comes to do with things like, for example, music industry. And I was talking to a guy who is actually a musician as well and artistic, and he has a great way of actually approaching his music, and he did a podcast with me recently. So go and check it out, and follow us on his podcast as well, and really get to know yourself from all these things that we talk about, especially the likes of music and creativity. So if you're a creative person, follow us on that. But today I want to talk about actually more so of the concept of getting to know yourself and understanding yourself and embracing that part of you, that you are who you are. You're not someone that you should be, from other people's perspective. Just be who you want to be in general. So just be positive about that and embrace it. Because the more we embrace ourselves or authentic self, the more we can actually be in a positive mind state. So, really, let's look at this. So, follow us on this podcast, send the links. We actually embrace that authentic self, we become a better person, and the more we actually embrace that part, we become amazing. And that's something I want to embrace and use in my coaching, because actually really getting better about your version of yourself is crucial, and really enjoying that process of getting to know yourself and being a better person in general. So really, I've had it, in different ways, and you know, I've learned a lot from conjunctive behavioral therapy. I've also learned that it has made a huge impact on how I deal with things in general, how I speak, and how I behave as well. So there are days where I'll be fine, and then, there'll be days where it's a battle. But we all have it, we all struggle with it. It's just a matter of actually really finding a way that works for you. Okay, so what works for you may not work for somebody else. So, really getting to know what works for you may not work for somebody else. So, it's just a matter of finding that balancing act, especially if something I do doesn't work for you. Well, then, that's understandable, because that's just how it goes, doesn't it? And I'm trying to find what works for you. So, in my coaching, I tend to teach this concept of how can we help ourselves and how can we improve on ourselves. This is why I created a blog that talks about these things, and I made articles about self-help. What can you do to reinvent yourself and make yourself a better person? And this is a great tool to have in general. So, what is it that you want to do to improve on your journey, the way you want to deal with things? So, what works for you may not work for somebody else. So, let's see how we can do that. It's always going to be a hard one, but to create and make it a better concept, it's just hard. So, what can you do today that works for you? Maybe meditation, maybe journaling. One or the other is good. And music is a great tool to have in general to express yourself. So, check out the podcast that I did with Cosmo, and, the Cream Zone. That's the podcast. And, subscribe, follow us, because we're on YouTube, we're on everywhere, man. So follow us and follow me. You'll get these episodes regularly. So click the subscribe button and follow us. See you on the next episode.